Hello and welcome to another episode of This Podcast Fits Your Macros. It's me, Coach Caileen, and across the way I've got Coach Ryan, who this is the first time seeing your face in like 3 weeks now, right?
It's been a minute. Yeah, it has been a minute because you were on a sailboat for the whole journey of time, right?
Yes, you froze for a little bit, but I think I got the gist. I've been gone forever. I'm going to close some tabs. But yes, it was a very fun time to be off. Yeah, lots of wins on the vacation. Like we went on a 2-week cruise, which is the longest we've ever been on. We were supposed to go to Greenland. Not that anybody cares, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We're supposed to go to Greenland for 2 stops. Then the weather was too bad and foggy and stuff. So we just ended up cruising fjord. We went to a couple places in Canada and it was great. A fjord. Yes, it was beautiful. I live in Arizona, so it's like balls hot. So like every summer they're like, why would you go somewhere cold for summer? I'm like, because it's 115 fucking degrees here. So I want to get out of heat. Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. I was not food focused at all. It was just like, oh, such an amazing vacation, but glad to be back for sure.
Yeah. And you, what do you do on your trips, Caileen? Do you go just wild all the way out with the macros and everything, or?
You know, back in the day, I will not be shy about my past, where I was super food focused. And there have been at least 2 times on a cruise back in the day where I actually like puked from eating too much, which is so sad to hear. But like that does not happen anymore, obviously. But, you know, a lot of times that scarcity mindset hits and you're just like, oh, this is going to be over in a couple days. I need to eat everything. And then like, it obviously does not feel good. So I was listening to all my satiation cues, you know, not eating like 5 ice cream cones a day, which, you know, Bradley Walker, he had 5 ice cream cones a day, I'm pretty sure. But, you know, that's a whole nother story.
Is it just unlimited ice cream? They just give you however much ice cream you want?
Well, they have a soft serve machine that's open like almost 24/7. It used to be open 24/7, but damn COVID, you know, now it's only open until like 2 a.m. So can't get an ice cream
Can't
cone.
have ice cream past 2 a.m. What a sad story.
What
are we even talking about today?
Oh, damn.
Because
what are we talking about?
Probably tell people about that at some point, our topic of the day.
Yes. Okay. So our topic of the day is water retention, what to do about it. Because basically a lot of people do suffer from water retention, especially in the summer, and we'll get into reasons why, but it can just be a little defeating sometimes when you're just like, I am bloated as a fox. So that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of these issues that people deal with all the time, especially in summer, because, you know, swimsuits, bikinis, pools, beaches, whatever you're doing, you want to make sure you got that bloat in check, that water retention in check. And it's not really a bloat episode, so I guess I shouldn't say that. But either way, we're going to talk about 5 ways to go through how to get rid of your water retention or things to even consider, right? But first, Caileen, do you got a macros item for us today?
We sure do. And this was sent by one Ryan Milton. You sent me this, and I had already actually known about them.
Did I send this on Instagram? I can't remember where I saw that.
I don't even know, man. We have like 5 different mediums that we communicate through one of them.
Yeah.
But it is the Sour Patch Oreos. Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Let's see. So I had actually seen this week's ago.
I remember seeing those, and I was like, wow. This is quite a blend of chaos. That's what I thought. I was like, this is perfect for Caileen. Why not? Let's bring it.
And you know what? On Instagram, you see like a lot of fake mock-up type things. I don't know if you get this in your feed because you are like a normal person. But to me, I have like, there's like whole Instagram accounts like created to like AI generated like mock-ups of what would be good. So I was like, is this one of those or is it legit? Yeah. But it was legit. Let's go over the macros. 2 serving sizes, 2 cookies or 29 grams, 6 grams of fat, 21 grams of carbs, and 1 gram of protein. My family already hit this very hard, but I was like, you motherfuckers gotta leave me one. You gotta leave me one.
So you haven't had this yet.
I haven't had it. I'm saving it. You know, now that we're sampling
it for the moment. It must have been hard to do.
Not really.
After the 2 a.m. ice cream machine.
You know what's funny is I bought these before we went on our cruise, but we didn't podcast. And so when we got done with our cruise, we spent a couple days in DC and we went grocery shopping because when you're traveling and you're trying to stick to your goals, you should go grocery shopping and pick up some necessary items anyway. So in the store, they saw the Sour Patch things and my kid really wanted them. She's like, Mom, can we get them? And I was like, we already have these at home. She's like, what? You didn't tell me. I'm like, no, because I needed to like hold on to them. Like if I would have told you we had them, they'd be gone in 2 seconds.
Change your name to the snack queen, not the macro queen, right?
It's true. Yeah.
All right,
and like the hider of secrets. So
let's see what it is. Let's see. So what is it? Oh, you just dive right in. Straight for it. So what's happening initially? What's your first experience here? Does it smell sour? It does? It smells sour. Does it taste sour?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making kind of a soured face right now.
This
like
is a weird...
You're making kind of like a spilt milk, like a spoiled milk face or something.
My tongue's tingling. Like,
really?
I don't eat a lot of sour stuff, but...
So it tastes sour?
Yeah.
Really?
It does. It's like weird.
Mixed with... Is any part of it sweet?
I mean, yeah, the cream, because that's what hits you first is the cream. And you're like, oh, yeah.
And then...
I'm like salivating a lot. And then it's like, boom, sour.
Obviously, classic Oreo cookie there. Just with, what is it? Malic acid, I think, is what they use to make these things sour. A lot of malic acid.
There's no...
No?
I don't see any malic acid here.
Well...
That is so fucking weird, dude, though. Because it's like sweet first, and then it's sour. Which is... Wait, no, first they're sour, and then they're sweet is how Sour Patch Kids go.
So it's a reverse Sour Patch situation going on here.
Either way, clearly, my family fucking love them. In fact, I have to say, stop eating them. I need one. Yep. So they got really good regards from my family. I didn't particularly enjoy.
You never said the macro here.
I did!
I'm just kidding.
I'm like, what?
How many, what are the sugars on there? I don't think you said the sugars, did you?
Sometimes I say sugar. It's 12 total sugars, includes 12 grams of added
And you have to eat
sugar.
how many cookies?
2. First.
That's it?
Size.
2?
Oh, yeah. Oreos, 2 is a standard serving
2,
size. Huh? Yeah, well, okay, so these are normally double stuff.
I don't get who's eating 2.
If you get single stuff, I think 3 Oreos is a serving size, but most of the double stuff, it's 2 cookies. Who the hell eats 2 cookies? Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody. Not even like, I don't even think a toddler would eat 2 Oreos.
Well, and that's what we're trying to teach my kid is because she wants to eat them like 7 at a time. And I'm like, hey, let's look at the serving size. Serving size says 2. You're very active. You could probably have 2 serving sizes, but maybe not 5 serving sizes.
Right. That's crazy. Well, so what's the rating? What would you give that? You said you didn't particularly enjoy it, is what it sounded like. I heard you say there.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't go out of my way and buy these again, but my kid loved them. So it's hard to say. I guess the kid rating was like an 8 or a 9, but for me, I'd say probably a 3 or a 4 would be where it was at. And I would not buy them again.
So not worth the macros. It's really getting close to there, right? You wouldn't eat it
No,
again.
Not worth the macros.
Done deal.
I would never eat another one of those again and be fine with it. So.
Never.
There you have it.
It's pretty impressive that the whole thing's almost gone yet. So, I mean, maybe we need a normal person's palate opinion on these things at this point.
my kid and Brad had it, and Brad actually liked them. So I don't know. I guess that's just me.
Is there a food that Brad would say he didn't enjoy, though? Like, I've never heard.
A vegetable.
All the ones...
Just kidding.
A vegetable. Actually, there's several. Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, carrots.
Yeah. No,
that's funny, but because you always say that. You're always like, oh man, this one's not good. And then, but Brad liked it. But Brad liked it, right? Or Maura, right? So
he's so weird. He's like Pierce. I could go on day, but this is not a podcast about Brad, but he did like those cookies. So
it's not. Maybe one day he can do a guest tasting, and that would be an interesting moment, right? See what he thinks. And he'll just be 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Exactly.
Oh man. All right. So let's talk a little bit about our topic now. Let's get down to business. 5 ways to stave off, prevent, or get rid of water retention. Why is this important in the first place, Caileen? Why does this even matter?
Well, retaining water could be pretty good indicator of like things going wrong in your body. You know, your body wants to be at a homeostatic state. So if you're swelling up from something, we got to figure out the root of it. That's could be poor circulation. We'll go on about different things about that. But at the bottom point, like you don't want to feel like you have water retention. Everybody's been there, but whether it's your watch or your ring or even your waistband on your pants, when you like take your watch off and you like see like an imprint of your hand and you're like, ew, I normally have it on this setting. Why is it like indenting my freaking hand so far? Like nobody likes to live like that. It's uncomfortable, first of all. But yeah, and then of course we can go on to the health reasons from it, but it's really defeating too. I know a lot of people, I used to actually work in jewelry back in the day. I think, you know, I don't know if I've said this on the podcast, but like, especially in the summer months, it'd be so funny. People would be coming in to try to get their rings cleaned and they'd be like, like, I swear, I don't know why I'm so swollen. And it's like, well, it's hot, you know?
Something happened to you.
Yeah.
It might have been one of the things we talk about.
Maybe.
So what's the first thing that's easy right out the gate to consider if you are holding more water than normal and you're like, I want to get rid of this?
So the first thing to check is your hydration levels in general. A lot of people don't put two and two together. They think if they're swollen, they're drinking too much water and that like maybe they need to stop drinking water. But the truth is, when you're swollen, you probably need to drink more water because your body, again, likes to stay at a homeostatic state. If your water intake goes down, it's going to be like, oh shit, this bitch ain't drinking water. I'm going to hold on to whatever I can because water is necessary for life. So chances are, if you are retaining water, you are probably low in water. So there's many ways you can keep track of this. We've talked about it before. There's apps, there's water bottles that, you know, you just keep using throughout the day and you say, okay, you know, this is, I think I've got 40 ounces now and I'm going to try to hit like 150 ounces. So you do that math that I'm not going to do right now because I am a scientist, not a mathematician. But anyway, I always like to draw little hash marks if I'm having trouble hitting my water on top of whatever water vessel I'm drinking out of. And each time I go to fill it up, erase one so that I know I'm hitting my water goal. And I think have we done a whole episode on how to up your water intake?
We probably have. We probably did. We did a lot of things.
I know. I'm like, if we haven't, we definitely need
many.
to.
We've done, we did do one like that. But yeah, it's definitely important to check that. How do you check your hydration level? What is something you suggest to figure that out?
Oh, there's a couple different ways. I don't know if you learned like the finger squishy one. Like, do you learn that one?
You look pretty damn dehydrated right now.
I know, I do look pretty damn dehydrated. This camera's working too good. I need to pound some water.
Yeah, you better.
No, so like, you know.
Miss Arizona.
I know. God, you know, that was the worst getting back to it. But it's funny because like being on the East Coast, I know I did not drink as much water as I should have, but it's like, you know.
It's just in the air over there.
Yeah. Here it's like a fucking dry ass desert. So your skin elasticity will basically take a shit. When you're dehydrated, your skin will still tent. It won't go back to normal. That's one way to check. I think there's others, but I'm drawing a blank right now. Is that the one that you were going to use? Or
yeah, I mean that. There's also, you know, the urine test thing, but I mean, really with that, that's also hit or miss. I don't know. The way I really say it is super simple, non-scientific, and not this and that. If you're not thirsty and you're not drinking other things that are not water, then you know, you are probably hydrated, right? Like your body will tell you with thirst. However, if you are like, oh no, I'm not thirsty for water, but you're having 12 Diet Cokes a day, or you're drinking, you know, Starbucks drinks or a ton of coffee or whatever, and that's replacing your water. Okay, well, that doesn't count. You know what I mean? Like these things have things in it that actually dehydrate you. So really a lot of times, you know, with the water, you got to figure that out. And then also you have to factor in, like, you know, how your body's feeling. So thirst, your body will always give you thirst signals if you are thirsty. If you feel thirsty, that means you need more water, right? And obviously you can overdo water and things like that. But most people listening to this that are experiencing water retention, probably not overdoing the water. So if you know, it is very hard to do that, especially if you are somebody that actually works out or is doing, you know, even just basic stuff like step counts and things like that, whatever. So you definitely want to be able to know that you are hydrated enough to be performing whatever it is you're doing for activity and for just your life, because your body will hold, you know, a lot of water just for the simple fact that you are not getting enough of it. It says, wow, there is, not enough water coming in here. So we're holding water. So again, good sign right there. If you're holding water, hey, maybe start with just step one. Ignore the rest of this podcast. Turn it off and just go drink more water and see what happens. And, understand that the levels of water, because if you look things up online, or whatever, or maybe you hear it in a podcast or, anything like that, there's so many things that will be like, oh yeah, it's this much you need a day, this much, or the classic gallon a day, but these things vary widely for all types of people. Even, your dietary choice and things like that can change how much water you need. How much coffee you drink in a day can change how much water you need. If you take creatine, can change how much water, there's so many things. You could be needing way more water than you think. And you could be like, oh, I get half a gallon a day. I get a gallon a day. I'm good. And realistically, you're nowhere near good. You might need to try more and see how you actually feel. And again, let your body be the best gauge for that in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard too that like by the time you're actually thirsty, you're already dehydrated. I don't know if you've heard that too. So it's like thirst is actually like you need to just pound it at that point because you're already needing to make up time. So
yeah, that's the other thing too, that don't be too draconian about your water intake. Like if you didn't get a lot in the morning or you didn't get a lot in the middle of the day, you can still get a lot any other damn time. So anytime you miss it, don't just be like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna move on with my day. I'm gonna have this and that. I'm gonna have, I'll start tomorrow. I didn't get my water by 8 a.m. I didn't drink my 16 ounces when I woke up. So now forget it. I'm good. I'll have coffee and move on. Right. And a lot of times just making better choices with stuff like that makes a massive difference in getting your hydration levels on point. But again, you will notice these things, and you have to be aware too of if you are doing a lot of activity or you're going in a sauna or you're doing things that specifically will make you sweat. You go do it like, oh, I'm going to tan up for the beach or something. I'm going to go sit in my yard in the sun for 20 minutes and you're sweating out there. Okay. All of this needs to be factored into your hydration levels of the day. And, hydration daily levels are not going to be just a one-day thing. It's not like, oh, yeah, every single day will be the same. No. Some days maybe you need less water because you stayed in your house all day and you didn't work out and you didn't do everything else, right? And that gets you to the same level of hydration. Some days maybe you did a half hour in the sauna. You went and tried to tan for 20 minutes outside and you did a 2-hour workout or something, right? Like, then you're going to need more water that day. It'd be silly to say, no, everything's a gallon every day. Just do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, yeah, the gallon rule in Arizona is just out the fucking window because there's nobody that like does not sweat up. That's like, I try to get my people to at least start, my local people that are here to start at a gallon. But I have one client that lives here that's like, oh, I drank my full Stanley today. And I was like, that's 40 ounces.
That's your water.
Right. Are you like a lizard? I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, a lot of water. That's the other thing. Temperature. I don't even think that's on our list, so might as well throw that here. But like if temperatures are going up, which they are for pretty much everyone in the world. I saw some headline the other day that said that it's going to be like the hottest year in America on record for the history of like the past 100 years or something, like universally all over. I don't know what it's going to be location to location, but I can already tell you this, check-ins past few weeks, people been messaging and being like, oh, I feel like I'm holding water. I feel a little bit more bloated than normal, all this and that. And then the first thing I say is, yeah, so what's the temperature around you? Is it getting warmer? And they're always like, yes, it is. I'm like, well, there's your answer. Drink more water then, because you're sweating. Even if just a little bit more sweating through the day that you don't pay attention to, even like it might not be enough to be like, wow, I'm dripping sweat. You're going to, again, be in that spot where now more water loss than normal was occurring. You need more water at that point, right? And things like that. And the temperature can make a big indicator, right? If you got these big hot days like Caileen has down there, Arizona, where it's like 159 or whatever the heck happens down there, right? When it gets to that doesn't, your whatever water you were drinking does not equate now. It's all changed. So, when the temperature comes up, drink more water, all these things. And you will find that when you do that, and you get a little bit ahead of it and you're able to kind of undulate with how your body's actually feeling, you get really good results from that.
Mm-hmm. And I would say to everybody listening, like, I don't understand, and I don't know if you do this, like, I don't know how people leave the house without a water bottle. Like, how do you not know, like, where your next sip of water is coming from? So yeah. I think you should all have an emotional support water bottle because thirst is real.
I don't actually do that. So that's funny that you say that, but it would work for most people. Right. But I I drink out of a half-gallon glass bottle. So it's like, big glass. So I can't take that to any gym in America. They don't let it happen for some reason.
True.
And so I just drink a ton of water beforehand. I don't,
Okay.
And then after, because again, I'm not like, oh, every 30 minutes I don't like doing that. I don't like straws. I don't want to sit there and drink, I'm like full jug. Okay. Half gallons in, on to my day, so.
Beer bong it or what?
What?
Could you beer bong it?
Yeah, I could. I get that little hat or something with the straws on it. No, but yeah, it's, whatever way you can get it in there, get it in there. It works. It's far better than not. And being like, I had 3 cups of coffee. And the people that say coffee is hydrating, right? Like, there's water in coffee. Okay, great. So what? There's water in Drano. Okay, it doesn't mean you should be drinking this stuff, people. To say I drink coffee, so I'm hydrated. It would be like drinking Drano to say that you cleaned out your gut. Okay, it's not going to work, people. So just get those ideas out of there. You got to be drinking more water, if anything, if you're having things that contain caffeine, stuff like that. Yes. So what's the next one? If you got your water down, you got your hydration down, you figured that out, it's simple enough. What else can you look at if you're still experiencing, water retention?
The biggest thing to look at is your sodium intake. So it's something that not a lot of people, like if you're not on hypertension medicine, like think about on a daily basis, but your sodium can drastically monitor how much water you're retaining or not. If you're having, and I'm not just saying like if you eat a certain amount of sodium, you're going to have more retention, because it really, again, is based on the individual person, how much they're sweating, how much they're working out, and what they consume on a daily basis. But like, you want to just be aware of your sodium levels. I'm not saying don't intake any sodium, because I've been down that road before. That one peak week where I accidentally removed all my sodium because I was like, oh, I don't want to be swollen. And that has a host of different problems. But like, just be aware of your sodium levels. If you went out to eat the night before or something and you had foods you weren't used to at a restaurant, I mean, they're going to salt the shit out of everything because salt is delicious. You're going to wake up next day, a couple pounds up on the scale. Don't freak out. It's just the extra sodium from this meal that you enjoyed out to eat. But again, like, sodium is not a bad guy at all. Not saying that, but just be aware of how much you're eating and know that, okay, if your sodium went up a little bit, you're probably going to hold on to a little bit more water. That's okay. It'll be gone. Drink more water, pee it out. It's fine.
Yeah, and that is the thing. The body does self-regulate sodium again. So, a lot of it's simple. When you give the body the right feedback, it does the right things all the time, basically. So, if you have too much sodium, okay, drinking your water and not having too much sodium again balances it back out. It's just the kind of way it works. So, with that, you do want to factor in, for these trips, things like that, or if you have a specific event. I know a lot of people these days do like family photo shoots or beach photo, I don't know, or, influencers out there doing bikini shots, whatever. Hey, don't go have Panda Express the night before you go have your, shoot. I mean, come on. It's, because again, if you take your body out of its normal balance, which it likes, its kind of consistent level of sodium, which is different for everybody, whatever that is. If you take it out of that, now there's a response from the body. Like, what did you do? Why did this happen? Why do we have more salt all of a sudden? Well, then, we're going to hold more water to it. All these things come with that. So you want to make sure that you can get a balanced level of sodium, and you can keep that if you're struggling with this all the time. I'm not a huge advocate really even of people tracking their sodium unless they have a specific purpose to do so, just for the simple fact that your body already self-regulates it. And unless you're eating like astronomically bad foods, you're probably well within the normal range anyway. But if you did have a specific problem, you already got your hydration levels set, and you're still like, I got bloat, I got water retention, I have this problem going on. Well, start paying attention to your sodium then. You might be astronomically higher than you thought, but realistically, it's probably not even the height of the sodium you have. It's probably more so the undulating effects of someday it's really high, someday it's really low, someday it's here in the middle, someday this and that, which means your body's constantly going through the cycle of trying to figure out where the balance is, and it doesn't find it, and hence the water retention. So, you can start figuring out what you should be doing for your sodium by just tracking, like we talk about on this podcast all the time.
Yeah. And it's worth noting, like, almost all, I can't think of a processed food that doesn't have a higher amount of sodium. Like, sodium helps preserve food. So
yeah.
eating a lot of processed things, I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but eating a lot of processed things, you're going to have a higher level of sodium intake. Whereas like when you remove the processed foods, I almost have to tell my people like, okay, you need to start salting your meals because like your sodium is so low because you're not eating any processed food.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's one of those things you got to regulate. So what's the next one then on there, Caileen? What do we got?
So another way we can mediate this water retention is to get moving, man. Like, because one way that we can help this is like your lymph system. I don't know if you're familiar with your lymph. We won't get too crazy in it. You've got several lymph nodes along your body, and they carry this fluid called lymph. And if you are very much so stationary, so not unlike blood has a circulation system, right? It's pumping, your heart's pumping, it's moving all the blood through your body. Your lymph is only going to stay stationary if you stay stationary. But if you get moving, then it's going to be able to move through your body. And it doesn't have to be crazy movement. It could just be going for walks and things like that. But if you're sitting at a desk all day, not getting many steps per day, your lymph is not moving too much. And the lymph kind of helps detoxify the body as well, gets things moving. So I don't know if you've heard about lymphatic massage. It's actually a very gentle form of massage where they're just like opening up the lymph nodes and gently move. It's such a light pressure massage, which is crazy. But you can get those same effects by walking, doing any form of exercise. Actually, like swimming in a pool is a great way to move your lymph around too. But yeah, just basically get up off your butt and get moving. And that's going to help redistribute all the lymph and help clear out that water retention as well.
Yep. Any activity you can do is better than zero, people. Remember that. Mm-hmm. Even if it's just a walk, it doesn't mean you got to go to the gym and set new PRs for an hour. You know, take a walk. If you feel like you got a little bit of extra water retention going on, take a freaking walk. That's it. Treadmill. You know, whatever you can do, any movement, even if it's 10 minutes, it does have a benefit. It does do something more for you than sitting around doing nothing, watching Netflix, watching whatever you watching, and, you know, sitting there being like, why do I have water retention? Go do some things, take some action, drink some more water, get your body moving, do those types of things. And you will see, you know, these things start to really improve. I mean, by this point, if you've done any one of these three, you've already reduced your water retention, you know, like a good amount probably. And you won't probably run into it again if you do the things we're talking about, because again, you know, those that do and those that don't, are the ones that are doing things correctly versus the ones that are not. That's really kind of where we land here. Now, number 4 on here, Caileen, you have compression socks and compression wear. This one, I'm interested to hear your ideas on.
Well, so a lot of the times, especially with people who are stationary, it kind of goes hand in hand with the moving aspect of it. Yeah. I'm sure you're familiar with people who fly with compression socks on. It just really much so helps circulation and things like that. So there's not much to say about this beyond the fact that, like, if you do feel like you're having issues with water retention, you can try compression socks, compression wear, and see if that helps out. But that's more like, so 4 and 5 are kind of like, you know, not treating the root cause and just treating the symptoms almost. Band-Aid. I feel like, a Band-Aid. So
on a broken bone.
They will help out, but I think 1 through 3 are the main drivers here. But you can try. I know a lot of people who live by compression socks. I actually don't have a pair, but I want to get some because, you know, flying is, I do that somewhat frequently. But yeah, so you can try it out and see. I hear lots of great things about it, but I personally cannot vouch for compression wear. But that's all the rage right now, I feel like.
And so you think mainly for like traveling and things like that, it's a good idea?
Yeah. Or I know a lot of nurses wear them too, because sometimes they're standing for long periods of time. People who are standing for long periods of time just to get things moving a little bit more.
Yeah. Because again, the body becomes stagnant. So that would be a good situation if you already know you're a relatively sedentary person. You don't have a choice. You're sitting at a desk, something like that. Maybe it can help you a little bit, right? Yeah. Or you stand all day on your feet, whatever. It's worth trying either way, folks. That's the whole point. You know, you got to try things and see what works, because there's something that works for everybody. And then there's a bunch of things that don't. And that's just the way it is. So test on that. And then the other one, your number 5 here, this is a very easy one to do. What order do you think? Is this like the last thing to try or the first thing to try? What do you think?
I would say the last thing, because mostly it tastes like asshole. So I don't know.
What are you talking about first? We should probably
yeah. I was gonna get to it. Dandelion root tea. I don't know if you have ever sampled it before.
Nope.
I had heard about its properties, and I had heard competitors doing it, so I was like, you know what, let me buy a box of this shit. I brewed it, and I'm like, whoa! Like I like most teas, but I was like, oh my god, this
Long
tastes
clippings.
So bad. Like I don't even know. Not even like long clipping. It just tasted like ass. Like not that I've eaten ass before, but like if I had, like I would imagine it tasted like this because it was so disgusting. So actually, just one of my clients was having, and we didn't even talk about this, like hormonal water and retention, which happens to us ladies all the time, usually about twice a month. But she was like asking for remedies, and I was like, and she's already moving, she's already upping her water intake. So that I did say you can try a dandelion root tea, but it tastes terrible. So you can, just do what we're already doing and know that in a couple days, things are going to settle back down because the body, again, loves to be at a state of homeostasis. Or if you want to expedite it, you can try the dandelion root tea, but I don't like it.
Yeah. The only thing I would say on the tea too is, anytime that, again, you introduce some outside source to create a result, there's going to be a snapback effect later. So, you may drink the tea and it reduces your water retention for that day, but then your body says, hey, what the heck you do? Next day, you're holding double the water because again, now, it's this vicious cycle of like, okay, artificial thing introduced versus this, nobody needs dandelion root tea to survive. You definitely need water though and stuff like that. So really everything kind of diverts its way back to level one, just get your water hydration levels better and figure that out. And, also the other thing I was going to say on the water retention thing is, like we were just talking about, there are some variables of this that are just natural variables. Some days, sometimes you will just retain more water and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. And there's no reason to really even try. A lot of times, if you're doing all the variables, this is what I always tell clients, right? That are freaking out about XYZ. They've done progress and the scales up, all this. And I say, you know what? Here's the thing you can fault on. If you've done nothing different, but things are different, then it means that it's just a fluctuation. Right. It's just a time, a day, a thing that's happening, something we probably can't control and shouldn't really waste time trying to do. Granted, if somebody comes at me and they're like, yeah, last night I ate 2 Little Caesars and 12 pack of donuts. And then also, I threw extra salt on top of everything and I drank half a bottle of whiskey. I'd be like, okay, well, you know what? This is some stuff we got to fix here. This needs to be addressed. But if you're coming at me like, hey, I've done nothing different. My sodium's good. My water intake's good. My food is good. I'm doing all these things. Then I say, you know what? You're a human being. Deal with it, right? Like this is just a normal thing that's happening. Don't change nothing and wait 3 to 4 days. You know how many things that in the progress world or the fitness world or people in client world, whatever, you wait 3 to 4 days, the impact of things that go away, because everybody always has bad days. Everybody has this. And, we didn't even talk about the fact that there's almost like I don't want to say delusional, but I'm going to say delusional idea of water retention. Sometimes it's not even there. Like people just wake up with a bad headspace or they see themselves in a certain lighting one day or whatever, or they see a picture and they're like, oh, I'm holding so much water. Are you though? Are you
so puffy? And it's
right? Are you though? What did you see? You saw some TikTok of somebody talking about something you got to be doing here to get rid of this? Because no, it's not always necessarily water retention. It's not always necessarily something you can fix. And, a lot of times, too, I'm going to be straight up with this. It could be body fat. Maybe you've realized that you want to actually lean up a bit, okay? Could be one of those things. I've heard that a lot from people like, oh, my inflammation's so high. My water retention's so high. I need a coach. It's like, yeah, you know what it is? You might need to lose 30 pounds, right? Like, come on. I'm going to be honest with you, right? Not everything is as simple as teas and whatever and this and that to get rid of things, And so if you find all these variables are there and you're doing all this and you're executing on it well and you're getting there, but you don't feel the way you feel, then maybe it's time to look off that scope and see what else there could be. Because obviously we know too, there's a million things, gut testing, all kinds of stuff. Caileen does thousands of things because there's probably other causes to your supposed water retention then.
Especially bloating. Oh, don't get me started. That's a whole nother episode.
Maybe we will talk about that next. Anything else to add here today, Caileen? That was a short one for us, but hey, we hit it. We hit it good.
I will say, like, back to, like, I forgot to mention the whole, stress too can cause water retention as well. I don't know how that didn't make the list. So chilling the fuck out can help with water retention as well.
Yeah.
Such as a little bonus tip. And yeah, just the fact that like hormonal retention, usually if you want to kind of be mindful of it as a ladies, it's going to happen around ovulation and 2 to 3 days before your scheduled period. So a lot of times, like for me personally, it's like after my period, I actually look way better than the couple days before. Like I had chicken today. I'm like, oh, my period's coming in like in a couple days. So that's why, my scale went up a little bit, but you know what? A lot of other things are happening there as well, especially with the hormones, is that a lot of times it tends to constipate you a little bit too. So not only are you possibly retaining water, but then like maybe you aren't pooping as good as you were. And so then all of a sudden, boom, 3 pounds up. And you're like, oh my gosh, my progress is gone. Let me just eat a whole sleeve of Oreos. No, just chill out.
Wait it out. Stay focused. Yep, exactly. Because again, that'd be one of those situations where now you want to try to beat Mother Nature, folks. You must be a smarter man than I, because I don't know how you're figuring that out. That's what I mean. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you got a little water retention today. Deal with it. Get on with your life. Focus on something you can control today, not what your body's doing hormonally that you can't. Because last I checked, women can't pick their periods.
No.
I checked, you're not like, you know what, today, forget it. Let's just go. I'll start it. Let's do that.
Send it.
That ain't happening. Okay, so if that's not going to be something we can control, let's focus on the variables we can, which is all 5 of these things we just talked about today.
Yes, and that's all. That's all I got.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Comment what you want us to do, other topics, other ideas, and we will be back with some more episodes.
Yes. Bye.